All right, today we're going to look at the E. So we started out looking at the ground level, which is just the A and the S. Last 2 days we've been talking about adding the multiplication and division, which is like VIPs because they're more important than the A and the S. Today we're going to look at the E. The letter E stands for exponent. The exponent in a math problem is a small floating number in the problem, so you can identify it easily. So it's not like it's even hard to see. If you look at these three expressions, see if you can identify the small floating numbers or the exponents. And to me, even though I'm talking while you're doing it, it's pretty easy to see because they stand out. For example, there's one, there's one, there's one, and there's one. So the reason why working with exponents is easy is because they're the easiest thing to see in a problem. They're small, they're floating, they're rising above the line, they don't look like they actually fit in, they're just there. And so it's not hard to miss an exponent. You just got to make sure you're paying attention and, again, caring enough to actually do it. I'm pretty sure the exponents stand out just because of how they look. Honestly, there's no way to overlook an exponent unless you simply do not care to miss it. Yesterday it was stated that the toughest part of the order of operations is the MDOS level, and that's because this is where the true thinking occurs. It's natural to overlook a division sign for a plus sign. So the importance of mastering the level of MDAS pretty much sets you up for success. All right, so now that we're moving on to the EMDAS, adding the exponent, all you have to do is pretty much understand you don't start until all the exponents are simplified. And so that leads to the question, what does an exponent do? What an exponent does is tell you how many times to multiply its base. So if you consider this expression 5, we call this 5 to the third. In this expression, the 5 is the base, it's the big number. And the 3 is the exponent, which, as I said, is a small floating number. The 3 is telling you to multiply the base 5 by itself 3 times. So multiply 5 3 times, which means you take 5 to the third, which means 5 times 5 times 5, which if we were to work that out, that becomes 25 times 5, and 25 times 5, if you don't know, 5 times 5 is 25, carry the 2, 10 plus 2, 12, there's your 125. The most common mistake is to look at this and multiply 5 and 3. Please get that out of your system ASAP. 5 times 3 looks like one of the following questions that we've seen. 5 times 3, 5 times 3, 5 times 3, 5 times 3, and 5 times 3. None of these 3's are floating. None of those 3's are up in the air. Please make sure you don't do that because, again, those are the only things telling you to multiply. And as I said, notice that the 3's are normal in each of the multiplication problems, and the exponent in this one is small, which means that something else is going on. Please make sure you practice to understand it now so you can have success later. What makes dealing with exponents difficult? Well, many times you got to utilize scratch work, and a lot of people don't like doing scratch work. Otherwise, your problem can get cluttered and confusing. So what if I worked out this problem here and I saw that I was going to do 2 to the third and I simply did 2 times 2 and did all this stuff? Notice how the scratch work that I'm doing is actually in the way of where I'm doing work. I wouldn't do that because it throws off everything. It keeps everything out of the way. So again, in this problem, the work of simplifying 2 to the third is done in the same area as your process, which you don't want to do. If you're not careful, it'll definitely confuse you because a lot of us who don't like math, who aren't really, strong at it, who are just getting used to finding success, this is going to throw off your focus. It's going to put you in a bad spot. So it's better to keep scratch work off to the side. In other words, same problem, as you notice, 3 plus 24 divided by 2, etc. Once I know I'm going to do 2 to the third, I go off to the side. I write 3 2's because that means 2 times 2 times 2. I simplify that to be 4 times 2, which is 8. I then bring that back to be 3 plus 24 divided by 8 minus 4. From there, we work it out as we normally would. You don't need to show the arrow, but I'm doing that pretty much to illustrate that from here, I go over, do my scratch work, and bring that number back. All right, that's the best way to do it. That is honestly the safest way to make sure you don't get thrown off by everything going on. My best advice for success is try to ignore the lazy voice in your head. We all have one. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people, the ability to do what's right, not what's easier. So when you see a problem like this, your logical voice or your logical voice says we have to multiply 5 3's. Then you think about 5 3's. And your lazy voice thinks, man, this is going to take a long time. And so in the end, you look for a shortcut. Shortcut doesn't exist. you have to actually multiply the 5 3s. There would be no shortcut. The good news is I'm not going to make you multiply 5 3s in a problem like that. Now, you will have to at some point just to do it, but it's not like that. So the key here is just do the work, get it over with. Your lazy voice doesn't consider the fact you'll have to repeat the class. It only considers what's easiest right now. So just push through, keep working to improve, and everything else will work out. It actually does get easier after a while. So I'm going to work out some problems here just to show you what's going on, especially with the multiplication of this stuff, and then that way you can see what's going on with it. Simplify 4 to the third. Remember that this is an exponent. It does not mean 4 times 3. It means 4 times 4 times 4. So I have to do what's in front, 4 times 4, which is 16 times 4. I don't know what 16 times 4 is, so I'm going to go off to the side and do 16 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2, which is 6. That means that this is 64. Notice how we went over to do our scratch work. Once we got it, we brought it back. 3 to the fourth. This is where things get interesting. This is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Because this is all multiplication, this is going to be something you can do to make your life easier only with exponents. What I can do is say, since these are all being multiplied together in one group, I'm going to group up these 2 3s to make 9 and these 2 3s to also make 9. And then I can just do 9 times 9, which is 81. It does work. Just to show you, if I were to do it, 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27 times 3. 27 times 3. 21. Carry the 2. 6, 7, 8. Notice how the answer is the same. The grouping only works with multiplication if you choose to do it. But I recommend you do it if you're doing your exponents, because it's really the only time you can do it. For example, 2 to the sixth means I put 6 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could go 2 times 2, bring down the rest, times another 2, bring down the rest. Or you could say, you know what? 2 times 2, there's 3 of them, so 2 times 2 is 4. And another 4, and another 4, which then makes 16 times 4, or going off to the side, or using your notes, 16 times 4, 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2, 6, which is 64. Hopefully you understand the process again of grouping only works with exponents. Do not try this with everything else that we've learned, but it does at least show you things aren't as bad as they seem whenever you get an exponent that's pretty high. Looking at the other things that we need to be doing, these are the questions we need to do. So again, looking at this question, the first thing I notice is that there's an exponent here. So what I'm going to do is change that. I'm going to copy the 3 parentheses 5. I'm going to copy the plus. 5 squared means 5 times 5, which is 25. So I'm going to rewrite that here. Minus parentheses 2 to the third. I see another exponent, and I really have to make sure all my exponents are gone. 3 parentheses 5 plus 25 minus 2 to the third means 3 2s, which is 8. No more exponents, so now I say who's the strongest. You have multiplication, addition, subtraction. Multiplication is the strongest, so 15 plus 25 minus 8. If you do not know what 15 plus 25 is, that's why we did that work last week. 5 and 5 make 10, carry the 1. That makes 40 minus 8. And 40 minus 8 is 32. All right. The exponent must go first. You can get to the other things that we know, but you do not do multiplication, division. You do not do addition, subtraction until the exponent is taken care of, because the exponent goes in front of all that. So when you see this problem, don't do this. This is not a parentheses. This is multiplication and an exponent, which I see. So 6 to the second means 6 times 6, which is 36. So 2 parentheses 36 minus 3. Multiplication, subtraction, multiplication stronger. Go off to the side, do your work. 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1, 6, 7, 72 minus 3. And if you count backwards using your fingers, 71, 70, 69 is your answer. that would be what we're looking for. All right. Take a second and try A and see how it works. See what you get. And let's see where we go from there. I'll go ahead and work that out now. 3 to the 5th means 5 3s. I know with grouping that I can put these two together, which makes that 9, 9, and 3. I know that 9 times 9 is 81 times 3. Now I need to do some work, so I go 81 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 8 is 24. 243 would be my answer. So the grouping just keeps me from having to do one step and then keep moving across the line. If you want to do it that way, that is fine. 2 to the 8th means 2. Actually, go ahead and work that out. I'm sorry, I meant to say pause that. So go ahead and pause that for a second and then see if you get the right answer on that one. I'll continue now. This means put 8 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's the thing about 2. 2 is small enough that 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is just 8. So what I actually find out, again, this is just a hint here, is that I actually can group up 3 2s and still make it make sense. Because again, 2 times 2 is 4, times the third 2 is 8, which means these 3 2s make an 8. These 3 2s also make an 8. These 2 2s make a 4. That now gives me the opportunity to do 8 times 8, which is 64. And then I'm going to go off to the side to do 64 times 4. If you have an issue with your multiplication, that's fine. It's going to get better as we go. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 24, 25. 256 is what we're looking at there. Take a second, pause C, and see what you can do. Let's check it out. Remember that we cannot do any kind of multiplication or any kind of addition till our exponents are gone. That's the first exponent to take care of. So 4 times 7 carries, plus 3 carries. We need to do the 4 squared, which is 4 times 4, or 16, minus 2 to the third. We have another exponent here, 2 to the third, which hopefully you're starting to see 3 2s is 8. So therefore we get 4 times 7 plus 3 times 16 minus 8. Now that all of our exponents are gone, we look for the strongest, or actually the first multiplication or division, and here it is. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 3 times 16 minus 8. The next thing we do is look for the first multiplication or division, which is another one here. 16 times 3, because remember you want the longer number on top, is 18, carry the 1, 4, 48. There's that. Now that it's all addition, subtraction work front to back, 28 plus 48. Notice how all my scratch work is over here. 8 and 8 makes 16, carry the 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 76 minus 8. And then 76 minus 8, if you count backwards, 8 fingers, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68. So it would be 68 as your answer. Then real quick, try letter D, just to see if you've got it. 3 times 4 squared minus 9. I'll go ahead and work it out now. Can't do anything while this exponent's here, so I've got to copy my 3. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. Now I've got multiplication and subtraction. I need to multiply first, so 16 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18, carry the 1. 3, 4, 48 minus 9. And 48 minus 9 is 39. Again, you can count backwards. You can do any method you want. Just make sure you understand that is 39. Remember to work for improvement. Your work portion of the day should be simple. Work on all the new problems for practice for yourself. Ask for help as soon as you think you're having an issue. Continue that until it's time to stop working. If you do this throughout the year, you should be fine and math will begin to get easier. If you're not doing this, you'll probably end up failing again. I have to keep saying this in the first chapter just to make sure you understand. And you have to do everything all over again next year. So do your best to make a winning choice. That's honestly the toughest part of living anyway. But outside of that, good luck. Talk to you later.